So your unit exam has 3 numbers at the top. The first number is a multiple choice number. There are actually 35 possible. The second number is your vocab number. There were 9 questions, each were 2 points apiece, equal 18. The third number up there is your SA, stands for short answer. And so anyway, there were 7 of them this time, and they were each were 3 points apiece. So there were actually 74 possible points, and I took it out of 70. So we'll take a quick look. Won't spend a lot of time, but the first question, question number 1, the best answer is A. Actually, there are 2 questions on your multiple choice section that I gave you regardless of what you put, and I'll kind of tell you what they are. So the first question was about the stability of the atmosphere. If the ELR is between the WAR and the DAR, which 7 is, then actually it's what we call conditionally stable, so A is the best answer there. Question 2, we say light is reflected when you see yourself in the mirror. D is the best answer there. Question 3, that ratio is the mixing ratio, so the best answer there is A. Question 4, I gave you regardless of what you put, because to me, the best answer actually is E, that relative humidity indicates the nearness to saturation for the air. But to me, A through D were kind of similar to also kind of relative humidity. So I hand-checked number 4. I counted it right, regardless of what you put. Question number 5, the moist adiabatic rate or the wet adiabatic rate is different from the dry adiabatic rate because latent heat is being released as water vapor condenses. B is the best answer there. Question 6, if the lapse rate is less than the WAR, then B, the atmosphere is absolutely stable. Question 7, the Earth's atmosphere is able to refract light rays because of D, we have different densities which act as different mediums. Question 6, advection is when any air moves over kind of horizontally, so advection is the best answer there for B. Question 9, sunlight interacts with the atmosphere, and actually the sunlight is white, the color white, as it hits the Earth's atmosphere. E is the best answer there. Question 10, an important difference between liquid water droplets and ice crystals, if they're in the presence of water vapor, is that ice crystals, A, grow more rapidly. It's the best answer there. 11, lenticular clouds are associated with the lee side of mountains. D is the best answer there. Question 12, which of these cause a rainbow? It's actually refraction and then reflection, so A is the best answer there. Question 13, also about rainbows. You need to have your back to the sun and your face to the rain, so A is the best answer there. Refraction occurs 14 because of the change in velocity. D is the best answer there. Question 15, clouds of precipitation form primarily due to air being cooled as it rises. C is the best answer there. Question 16, in lecture we use a sling psychrometer, which actually has 2 thermometers. One has a wet sock around of it and one is dry, so C is the best answer there. Question 17, the law of reflection states that the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection are equal, so B is the best answer there. Question 18, I took any answer because I wished I would have, instead of said 3,000 meters, just called this a middle cloud. So I took any answer there. It means alto. Our alto prefix is what's used for those 2 middle clouds. Question 19, during the process of adiabatic cooling, D, the air cools because it expands to a larger volume. Question 20, D, orographic lifting is when air slams against a mountain and is lifted. Question 21, hail is associated with storm clouds, cumulonimbus clouds. A is the best answer. 22, cloud droplets form within warm clouds due to a process we call A-collision coalescence. Question 23, temperature of the air is cool to its dew point. If it is, then most likely A, condensation will occur. 24, the cloud sometimes resembles a mare's tail. We call those cirrus clouds, E. The process of releasing silver iodide into the atmosphere, we said that was one way that clouds are seeded, C. 26, clouds are classified according to their altitude. Their flatness or fluffy is kind of what we call appearance, so D is the best answer there for that one. Question 27, supercooled water is water that's a liquid at a temperature below freezing. E is the best answer there. 28, which of these are correct? A correct association is D, that low clouds are stratus. Question 29, in adiabatic process is one that E, heat is not exchanged with its surroundings. Question 30, the stability of an air layer is said to be, relates to what we call B, its tendency to move up or down. Question 30, superior mirages will appear above their horizon while inferior mirages will appear below. So A is the best answer for 31. 32 is kind of like a homework question. When would you want to water your lawn? And as it turns out, even though it feels the most muggy, around noon, as long as there hasn't been any more water vapor added, the amount of water that the air can hold at the warmer temperature is increased. So actually we have a lower humidity there. Kind of related to that, so C is the best answer for 32. 33, the capacity of air to hold water vapor actually increases with increasing temperature. B is the best answer for 33. 34, refraction is what happens when light changes its directions because it's changing speeds as it travels between two medium. 34, the best answer is E. 35, the best answer is nimbostratus. Which one is producing rain? That's one of the two rain clouds we talked about. Question 30, then we go on to vocabulary, and again, these were worth 2 points, so it's possible to get one of two. I was after the environmental lapse rate is basically what's measured as a balloon goes up in the troposphere. It's the temperature profile, the actual temperature profile. 37, I was just after the general term mirage occurs related to actually kind of changes in temperatures of the air, and they act as different medium. 38, I was after cloud condensation nuclei as little pieces of dirt or whatever that get the kind of party started, gathering those water vapor particles together so they turn into liquid. Question 39, I was really after internal reflection, but I took reflection too. So I was trying to describe, if you remember that photo from your textbook that has the two little girls in the swimming pool, and you can actually see the little girls. I just think that is the cutest photograph. So that's internal reflection being described there. Question 40, the dry adiabatic rate is about 10 degrees Celsius for every kilometer that a chunk of air is forced to go up. It's going to cool because it expands. That's the dry adiabatic rate. I was after hydrogen bonds for number 41. They're a type of intermolecular bond, but it's a special type of bond, joining water molecules. Other matter has hydrogen bonds, like alcohols have hydrogen bonding too. 42, I was after the specific type of fog, radiation fog, as it can occur as the Earth cools down over the course of the night. That's your morning fog. Question 43, I was after virga as a cloud that dumps its precipitation, but the atmosphere is too dry. It doesn't make it down to the Earth's surface. Question 44, I was after green flash. I was thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean. I bet they've got some green flashes. As basically that kind of blip, that colorful blip as the sun is setting, or it can happen as the sun is rising too. Question 45, I basically, if you gave me anything, gave you, I think, full credit, but you had to give me something. 45 was not a good question. So basically what I said is we have two chunks of air. They're both at 35 degrees Celsius. One actually hits the dew point temperature at 2,000 meters, and the other one hits the dew point temperature at a cooler temperature, okay, up at 4,000 meters. And then my question was, what could you say about the dew point temperatures? And you could say that parcel A has a higher or a warmer dew point temperature than B. So, yeah. That one won't make it to the final, I can tell you that. Question 46, why do we get radiation fog more likely on clear nights as opposed to cloudy nights? A lot of you got this one right. It's because the clouds trap heat, and you need the heat to go away in order to get this sort of fog. 47, I went ahead and listed the 10 different cloud types, and so for 3 points you had to give me 4 clouds and general description of the cloud. For 48, I wanted you to tell me what happens when we get rain here at the Earth's surface and what happens when we get freezing rain. So I just went ahead and kind of, some of you guys did it like in text form, and some of you guys drew little figures. But we get rain, oftentimes it starts out in a cold cloud, as with the Bergeron process and snow, but it just melts when it gets here. Okay, we get rain. Alternatively, it can melt, and then actually we have a pocket of cold air above warm air, a temperature inversion, and then it can actually refreeze, kind of depending upon how deep that is. Either we'll get freezing rain or sleet. So temperature inversion is required for that. The next one, 49, is a homework question. Why don't you usually see virga and fog at the same time? Well, virga requires dry air, and fog requires near saturation or humid air. Question 50, the four lifting mechanisms. We have orographic lifting involving mountains, frontal lifting involving air masses and fronts, convergence, basically chunks of air meeting at a single point and lifting up, and then localized convective lifting, basically you have a hot spot that's kind of more buoyant than its surroundings and it will rise. Question 51, rainbows are created by the presence of rain droplets. Halos are created by the presence of ice crystals, most likely. Coronas, most likely cloud droplets in their liquid state, and sundogs, ice crystals. I kind of got this, these answers from that little box that I kind of had as near my last slide in chapter 16. So that's that.